Hello guys, welcome back to Steep Riderz. We've got a Triumph Thunderbird 900 today. I'll pass you over to Brad and tell you a bit more about it.
So this is my 1995 Triumph Thunderbird. It's a 900 triple. I bought it in a box of bits when I was 18 years old, and I started building it into this calf racer style when I turned 19 and could do my A2 licence. The reason it was taken to bits was the old engine was knackered. So when it turned up, it didn't have an engine and everything else was spread out and it had been apart for years and years and years. So lots of cleaning, lots of figuring out where everything went and put it all back together. At the time I couldn't afford to rebuild the engine, so I bought another engine and just put it in, painted it black, and did everything else that I needed to do. Since then I've put Dynajet kits in the carburetors, K&M filter, Daytona camshafts in it, and changed the gearing as well. So it currently now does 65 in first gear, which is pretty good for what should have been a slow old cruiser back in the day. It's a great bike, it's got loads of mid-range torque, its power is always there under the throttle. It's not quick compared to a modern day bike, but I mean, it's an old girl and it's great fun to ride. It's not too good on fuel either with those big carbs. I think maybe does 30 to the gallon if I'm lucky. It's only got a 15 litre tank anyway, but I mean sometimes I don't even get 90 miles out of that. But that's me riding it pretty hard. It likes to be ridden well, but by doing that I've had to uprate the brakes, put Brembo brake on the front, a 4-pot caliper, put Ohlin suspension on the rear and progressive suspension on the front, so it helps massively with the handling. Originally this bike had quite a low seat height, I think it's just under 800mm. I've since changed the ride height quite drastically actually to bring it up high. I've had the seat reshaped and recovered to go with that cafe racer style. I have actually got a flat second seat to go with it, so it just unclips on the key, put a flat seat on it, and then that way you can take pillions. It's quite comfy for them, good footrest height, good flat seat. They just don't like the way I ride a lot of the time. A lot of heavy braking, a lot of accelerating. But it's quite a heavy bike for what it is as well. So when you're riding it, you do have to really ride it, But when it was standard, it was only A2. It is perfect for A2 because it's 85 horsepower standard. I'm not sure what it'd be now with the camshafts and the carburetor upgrades and stuff. It's a really good bike to ride, It's grim factor all the time, and it tries to kill me a lot of the time, which is what I love. Yeah, okay. Originally the top speed was 127 mile an hour according to the book. I'm still not 100% sure what it could be now because the speed only goes up to 135, but it does push way past that sometimes. So this bike overall, I've done quite a few long journeys on it. I've ridden it to the Isle of Man, I've ridden it to Amsterdam, and it's only got a 5-speed gearbox. So I would really like a 6-speed, and just to bring the revs down a little bit, save a bit of fuel. But on a long journey, it is actually really comfy. Although you got the drop bars and the high seat, I get on with it really well. I've got a couple bags that I can just throw over the back and tie down, and it is absolutely faultless on a journey. I've never had any problems with it. It's just the fuel consumption is the worst part, permanently filling it up. It lives in a petrol station, this bike. Every time I ride it, I think, I need to fill it up again, drag it out of the garage. Surprise, surprise, tank of fuel's empty. But I wouldn't trade it for the world, Great bike. But when I say nothing's ever gone wrong with it, that is a lie. I did blow the engine up once. The engine I originally bought was a Thunderbird sport engine from a later bike, and I blew the middle piston into about 1,000,005 pieces. And at the time I didn't have the money to repair the engine, so I did just buy another one and put it in, and that's then when I did the camshaft work to match the carburetors and stuff like that. But I'd say the worst thing about this bike is the weight of it. It's quite a handful to ride, small corners, tight corners, or even if you're going too quick into a corner and you've got to grab a handful of brake and try and muscle it round the corner, you do know you're riding it. It isn't like a nice little Sunday ride bike. You've got to ride it hard, but you've done it as well. the best thing I would say about this bike is the sound of it. That sound of this triple isn't like any other bike. It's got a real nice bark to it. It's got a deep rumble on idle, and when you crack the throttle, it really does have a nice bark. And I think as well, it's a different bike to what everybody else has. When people know a Triumph Thunderbird, they know it's a cruiser. They know they're quite ugly looking bikes. No offence if you got one, but this does get a load of attention. People love asking questions, and they're surprised when they find out an 18-year-old has built the bike himself with no extra help.